So our show today from the Emotion Code Divas is about holiday depression. So we're not going into the disease of depression, which is an illness. So we're just talking about holiday blues, whether you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, or whatever, or don't celebrate. We'll talk about that as well. So I'm Dana J. Smithers. I am one of the Emotion Code Divas. Helena is my partner in crime here, and just before we get started, I just decided today that I'd go back to pulling an angel card. We used to do these in the beginning of the show when we first started. So the person that we're working on today is a fellow in his 30s, recently separated, has two young children, and it's going to be the first Christmas without being a family. So that's what I'm going to talk about today because I've also experienced that. So I decided to pull a card. And what I found, always the perfect card. So this one says, ask. And I'll just read it. It says, ask us to help you in this situation, and we will immediately go to work on your behalf. We're governed by many universal laws, and among them is the free will that allows you to make your own choices and decisions. So we patiently await your request. And why I think this is so perfect is because a lot of people going through, we talked about this last time actually, the 5 stages of grief. And this can be a loss of relationship, finances, family, the way life used to be, right? You could be older, you could have moved or whatever, but depression is very much part of that grieving cycle. And even when people have gone through all 5 and accepted it, these other triggers can happen again. And that's what we're talking about with the emotion code. So you have to ask for help, right? So we can't help you. We can definitely do emotion code for this because this is one of the perfect healing modalities for that. So that's a little bit about me. Helena and I are both certified by Dr. Bradley Nelson. You can buy this book. It's got a lot of case studies in it. And what we're going to talk about today, we're quickly going to go through the 7 keys to doing a session. And we will be, Helena will be conducting the session today. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about some ways that you can perhaps think about, be mindful of some ways that you can get out of this holiday depression. So that's a little bit about me. Oh, and also along with the emotion code, I think another good modality for me would be Reiki, that I offer distance Reiki for people, because it just we get the emotion codes, get rid of the emotions, but the Reiki provides that calming and stress relief. And Helena has different tools in her toolkit. So Helena, off we go to you, Emotion Code Diva.
Hello, Dana. Yes, I'm Helena Jenikin. I'm a certified emotion code practitioner as well as a certified hypnotherapist. And I help people release excess weight, overcome fears and phobias, especially around the dental issues. I took a training called hypnodontics. I like to work with dentists and their clients. And also, I am known as the Stop Smoking Lady. I help people stop smoking in one hypnosis session. This is my office where I see my clients in here in beautiful on Vancouver Island. And my other tool that I use with my clients is EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. Sometimes I have a client that comes in and they're in quite an anxious state. And so we'll do a quick round of tapping on different energetic points in the body, and we release the intensity and bring it down to a 0 really, really quite quickly. They're quite amazed, and then they're excited for the hypnosis and the emotion code.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yes. EFT is great. Again, the emotion code and EFT, you can do those things yourself. You can look them up. You can take Helena and I are both trained in that, the tapping, and it really does work. So all of these modalities are helpful and point towards, healing. But of course, you then have to do the work, right? It might be a change of lifestyle. It might be a change of attitude. It might be changing your thinking. And certainly when it comes to smoking, changing your habit.
Yeah.
because it's a habit. We did a special show on that, so you can find that in the Emotion Code Divas as well. So Helena, let's just go ahead and jump right into the keys that we do, because we know we have first-time viewers. We also post this up on YouTube. So what we're going to do right now is just show you the steps that we go through, the key areas to conduct a session, whether someone is in person in Helena's office, or I do a lot of mine by phone or Facebook or Skype. FaceTime, it doesn't matter. We don't have to be in the same room as a person, and we'll explain why that is. But we do need permission.
That's right. We need permission. It's our very first important step in the 7 keys, is to get that permission from the person that we're working on. Either that's they can give us permission to work on their children, their minor children, or their animals. Can't give you permission to work on your husband or your neighbor, or we can't just start working on people that we see on the street. So first step is getting the person's permission.
Exactly, and we have that today. And then this is what we're talking about. If we're going to do it on the phone or not with them, we become their proxy.
That's right, their proxy. So that is, we've got their permission to ask their subconscious mind directly yes or no questions. Those are the only questions that we can ask, is yes or no.
Great. And then what we want to find out on a scale of 1 to 10 is the severity.
The severity, that's right. In my hypnotic training, we called that the Suggs Test, the suggested units of discomfort. We're looking for a conscious answer here. So 10 being the issue that we're working on is severe. It's super, super high. And our intention is to lower that number, actually to bring it down to a 0. So it's non-existent for them any longer.
Exactly. And how do we do that? We do that by
muscle testing.
testing.
Yeah, I love muscle testing. And the way I muscle test is I have an agreement with my subconscious mind. When I link the 2 fingers together like this, my 2 make a circle, and I think of the word yes, my fingers lock together. And when I think of the word no, they just pull apart. And it can be ever so gently, but I know that's a lock yes and that's a no. Dana, how do you do your muscle testing?
I do mine just a little bit differently. I put my middle index finger and thumb together, and then I use my index and middle finger, and that my subconscious and I have agreement that that's a yes and that's a no. And sometimes I do use a pendulum. When I'm working with someone and I can actually check the chakras, well, I can check it either way with the pendulum or muscle testing. I like the pendulum. It's just a little bit slower for me, and Helena and I tend to be fairly quickly with our yes and no muscle testing. And the next thing what are we muscle testing?
We're muscle testing the emotion code chart. The emotion code chart is a chart of 60 negative emotions, and they've been laid out into 2 columns, A and B. And it's also laid out into 6 rows, 1 through 6. And so when we're doing the muscle testing, we'll be asking, is there a trapped emotion that I can release in column A or B? Is it in an odd row or an even row? And then we'll come to an answer of a particular cell, and that cell has 5 different emotions, and we'll ask individually, is it this one, this one, this one, or that one? And then when we find the right one, we release it.
Exactly.
And
how do we release it? We use
magnets. I've got 3 magnets here today, and they're hematite magnets. They're magnetized, and what we do is we use magnets to intensify our intention to release the emotion. And what we do is we do this action here. We swipe it over our head like this, because the governing meridian, now this is the governing meridian that Chinese medicine uses, acupuncture uses. It's the main meridian that starts underneath the nose and goes all the way down to the tailbone. So when we ask if there's an emotion, we find the emotion to be released. It pops out of the energetic system into the physical system, and then we wipe it away, cancel it out.
And it's demagnetized when we do that, and it's gone. Now, it's gone from that particular episode because Helena's going to go ahead and do it. She may get the same emotion, sometimes 2 or 3 times, because it's triggered. If you've never released it, it's there from that situation, and then we can release it, but then you may have another one. And that's why sometimes people say, oh, I thought we already released that. Well, it's another situation, and you haven't removed that trapped emotion.
Yeah. Yeah. What is
So
the
important
next?
for both.
This is water, hydrated practitioner. I'll drink this during this particular session.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me. What I find it does is it helps creating the electrical impulses in the brain, because our body is mostly water. It allows us to be hydrated. When I'm hydrated, I get clear answers. Information comes to me, and my muscle testing is effective and gives me the right answers right away. So hydration.
Yeah, and that's something, if you're just learning it from the book and doing your own, that's something that Dr. Brad talks about. If you're not getting, if you're getting a yes and you're getting a no kind of at the same time, it can be a couple of things. He talks about your back can be out of alignment, but most often it's that you are not hydrated enough. So it's important for both people. Both
Yeah.
parties to be hydrated. So Helena, should we say hello to some people that are watching? And I've had some great testimonials come my way over the last few days as well. So
Me too.
shout out to Natasha, a faithful follower, Natasha Polisandro. Thank you so much. Damp day today, right? Okay, let's see. In Rumford, Essex. But she loves to watch our show live, and we love to have her. That's great. And Kelly Carson, I think you worked on her, Helena. She's talking about chocolate chips that she doesn't have anymore.
I love it.
Yeah, so she has had that. Mm-hmm.
Yep, and then we have a few other people watching as well, and just type in hello in the comment box and let us know that, ask us any questions that you may have while we're doing the work, while Dan is doing the explanation and I'm doing the work.
Yeah, and just I got a nice, well, 2 texts actually, 2 emails. Several weeks ago, we were working on a gal named Linda with, she had real problems with nightmares and sleeping. And so that's 2-3 weeks ago, and she just messaged me yesterday and let me know that her sleeping has been so much better. So we're so happy about that. So I've asked her to post, and also Chris Coutinho, who we worked on quite a while ago, had a lot of issues with just drinking way too many. I don't know if it was frappuccinos or shakes or whatever, but it was just way too many. Anyway, she's now down to just once a week. So I've just asked her, we talked about being mindful. Helena, you talked about it last show. Do you need it? Or the smoking show that we did, right? Do you need it or do you want it? So when you become mindful, well, if you'd like to have it, like it's Christmas season time, and once a year I have a few eggnog lattes from Starbucks. It's not really, well, it might be it's more like a Christmas ritual, right? I like to have it. I don't have a lot because I find them super rich, but that's just kind of a treat to myself. So that's not something that I worry about, right?
Yeah, it's when the pumpkin spice lattes come out, I find that just one is what I want. Just one.
Yeah, I find them a little bit too rich. Anyway, Helena, you're going to go ahead and work on this young man for us. And I'm going to talk about holiday depression and some of the things that, besides having an emotion code session, that I believe can help. And I'll tell you a little bit about my experience. So holiday depression usually comes when there's a memory about something. And usually that memory can be positive or it can be negative. And when for example, for me, the first year that my mother passed away, when the holidays were coming up, and particularly Christmas, because Mom always did the full everything at Christmas. She was a fabulous cook. She loved to bake. We got the full English tradition, not that she was English, but she loved to cook. So it was turkey, stuffing, Brussels sprouts, mashed potatoes, corn, and always she made Christmas cakes, but we always had plum pudding that she would flambe and bring it out of the kitchen. So there were a lot of rituals and just family traditions that we had and have around the holidays, in this case, particularly Christmas. So what we decided to do, rather than try and relive that memory with our mother, we decided to go out to a nice restaurant. And while it was not the same, absolutely not the same, I was grateful that in the morning I said a prayer for my mom. I invited her spiritually to come and join us. I thanked her for all the wonderful Christmases that we'd had and the holidays. And then we went and had a nice Christmas dinner, kind of the full traditional meal. And I didn't really feel sad. I just felt that she was with me. And I felt okay about that. So what can happen, though, is that very first time, if you decide to have the same rituals and do the same things, I would suggest that you just take a few minutes in meditation, and whether it's the family or not, if there's young children, if it's appropriate, just have a prayer. Just have a few moments of silence and remember all the happy memories that you had. And bless everybody that's with you now. And just give a prayer to that person, that wherever they are in the universe. And it may be that that person hasn't actually passed on. Like, for example, with this young man that Helene is working on this morning, it's a separation. So there'll be a little bit of non-norm rituals going on. So what you have to do is, once you get through the first one is usually the hardest, then start to create your own rituals. What is the holiday going to look like for you? So think of new things that you can do. Bring in new traditions, because the old ways are gone. And once the old ways are gone, we bless them, we thank them for the memories that they've given in our life, but let them move on. And from a law of attraction perspective, we've got to really change our belief system that we can't have a happy holiday, that we can't have a happy Hanukkah or happy Christmas or whatever other holiday it is you're celebrating. You can. You just have to find that place of gratitude. Think about the gratitude. I know I've talked about this before. This is something I always refer to. It's called David Hawkins' map of consciousness. And, there's levels and stages of memory in our subconscious where we have all these emotions and where they can be triggered. So grief and feeling sadness down here is all the lower emotions. But when you can get up to a place where you feel a bit more peaceful, there's more gratitude that you feel, and also acceptance that the holiday will never possibly be the same. Or maybe you have loved ones, maybe you have people that are overseas, maybe you have people that are away on the holidays, maybe you have people that are perhaps doing service for your country, and you know that you're not going to have the time. If you can Skype or do something to connect, do that. But the most important thing, I believe, is find a way to express gratitude for what you have going on in your life at that time. Find something to be grateful for, because gratitude is the one emotion that can raise our vibration so that we do feel some peace and we are thankful for the things in our life. And, I know, accepting the way it is at least going to help you get to kind of a place where you're not feeling all those negative emotions and you're not so upset about everything. And, from that chakra perspective, it's going to be the heart chakra that's going to feel a lot of emotion. And also from a chakra perspective, your sacral chakra, this is where all your feelings reside. So, you're going to be working with that, your heart, and also what's in your mind. So try and think kind thoughts. If you can, sometimes I found that even to get out of the holiday blues is, be around people that are uplifting for you, be around situations. But if you do find that you're around a situation that is just too painful, just take a moment. You decide, do you want to find a place of gratitude, or is it best for you to just get out of that situation? And if that's what feels right, then do it. You don't have to, you don't owe anybody any explanation about why you may not want to join in something. So give yourself permission for you to do what feels right for you. And anytime you can create a new tradition, a new feeling, then this is what's going to get transferred into your subconscious, so that if music has a big effect on people. If you find that perhaps listening to certain songs is a bit painful, then find new songs to listen to, or don't listen to any music, right? So I'm asking you just to be very mindful and be very, very gentle with yourself, with whatever is going on for you. So find something that you can feel good about. And you know what? This is the first Christmas for me in 3 years, because of a health issue that my husband was going through, that I'm actually going to decorate on December 1st. I've never done that in my entire life, but I've got a little Christmas tree. I've bought some animal ornaments that I'm going to bring out. I don't even know what I've got for the tree because I've had stuff packed away. So you know what? I gave myself permission last year. I didn't put anything up. We went out for dinner. We had a lovely time, and I was happy with that, and I was grateful, because things do change, and that's one thing that you have to accept, that change is going to happen on a regular basis. But find a way to celebrate. So this year, woohoo, I'm celebrating. I got the Christmas music. I'm going to buy some new Christmas CDs. I'm going to have the tree up. I'm going to have the glam kids over, and it's okay if they knock a few things down. I'll just be more mindful. That may happen, and that's what glam children are all about. So hopefully those are some helpful hints for you. And Alina, looks like.
Yep, I'm done.
All right.
And it was really interesting. The very first emotion that I found was pride.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Big one. Big one.
Yeah, pride. And then it was shock. And it was interesting, as I was going to do the shock release, I tapped the side of my computer. My whole computer went shocking, just kind of jittered all
Wow.
over the
Yeah.
place. And it was like, oh, okay, yeah, shock. Yeah, it is quite unnerving.
Yeah.
And then released shame and low self-esteem. And then I found a psychic trauma of frustration and taken for granted. Frustration and taken for granted.
Yeah.
Released that. Then I had that. Then that was it. That was it. And then it was like, oh, okay. So we started at a 10, got down to a 4, and then I thought, oh, okay. Let's just give this a moment, because sometimes the person just needs to catch up as they're processing. And then I went back in, and you actually started talking about acceptance. So then I asked, can I accept this? And then then I found, I believe, indecisiveness. Released indecisiveness, and it came down to a 0. Then you were talking a little bit more, and then I asked about the children. I know there's some children were involved, and it was, can I release this worry that I have for my children? And then what that was released, and then you started talking about the heart wall. It was interesting, because I was taking your cues.
Yeah.
Because it kept saying I'm done, and then I asked, do I have a heart wall, because I'm him, and it said yes, and could I release any emotions, and it said yes, 1. So the emotion that we released today from his heart wall was shock. And
Wow.
now,
Those are really perfect. And the thing about the emotions, sometimes when we release emotion, it may seem it doesn't fit the situation. As emotion code practitioners, we just trust. We've set that intention. We're asking the universe what needs to be released. But I would say that these ones are just totally on point with what I know, about this person and the situation. So
yes.
I'll do some checking in, and really appreciate that you did that. So, we talk a little bit about lemons.
Yeah, lemons.
And you got your lemon too, yeah. Because a trapped emotion, according to Dr. Brad, can be, a physical pain in your body. It can be headaches. Even depression can come in the form of a migraine or just heaviness in the body where you're so tired. It's like having, 100 of these lemons across your shoulders and you're carrying the weight of the world. And it's just depressing. It is, because it is depressing down on your emotions and especially your heart.
Yeah.
So those are really good ones. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
And
have I always have this little card
oh,
as a reminder. It's this beautiful angel card,
oh,
and
she's beautiful.
yeah, it sits on my desk, says thank you. Always asking for thank you, and it was a little card that came in from this artist. I bought a couple of pictures from this person, and she's a Reiki practitioner.
Oh,
So
lovely.
Dana, it
That's
was just
beautiful.
lovely. It
I
was
love that.
I know she asked me if it was okay. On the back of the card, she wrote me a little note and asked if it's okay if she could do. She does distance Reiki
Okay.
every Sunday evening, so she asked if she could include me in her circle, and she did. So,
Oh, lovely.
which is just lovely. So I'm always saying thank you
Yeah.
for the guidance and the love and the protection of my angels. So thank you.
Right. And, the thank you. Um, I just actually did a radio show on gratitude and on how important it is, and just finding whatever you can to be grateful for, right? Because we have so much to be grateful for. If you're breathing, you can express some gratitude for that. And we all have things to work on. Absolutely, there's not anybody on the human scene, as uh, Gary Zukov says, this is the Earth School, so it's all about the lessons, right? And I think being grateful and thankful for the life, what we have, and knowing that there is a life force that breathes us. We don't breathe ourselves. If we had to do our own breathing, if we had to rely on that, we would not be here. So just remember. So that's why taking a breath, just get connected, be thankful. So thanks so much, Helena. So just a few things. Diana Powers is watching. Thanks for watching. And Gersh Gilman, no, sorry, I should be able to read. I got my new glasses on. Glilman, Gersh Gilman says, excellent, thanks, wonderments, as always. And anybody else that you can see, Helena? I know we get a little bit different. No,
Sometimes
we're
we
good.
get different, but nope, that's all I see
Excellent.
here
All
right
right.
now.
So
I,
please do, sure, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I've been looking for my text that I had from our viewer from last week, and
Mm,
what she was saying was that during the session that I was doing on, she was processing, releasing, very emotional, and that the following week she found herself in a much lightened
mm,
enjoyment state, and she used to quite be worried about certain things, and that worry was not present for the whole
nice.
week.
That's nice.
So, yeah, good.
Yeah,
That's
worry
great
is a big
working.
one. So next week is another really big topic as well, and Helena is going to be sharing the education part because our shows are all about educating, inspiring, and healing and releasing some trapped emotions for a viewer. So Helena will be talking about holiday weight gain,
Hmm.
and we're going to give you some tips on how to just be mindful of what's going on. And Helena will talk about her virtual gastric band and things that she can do to help you around that as well. So
And
Helena,
Dana,
sorry,
the emotion code is key now with my virtual gastric
yes,
band process.
yeah,
It's absolutely key.
excellent, good to hear it. And how can people get a hold of you?
People can get a hold of me through Flourish Hypnosis, which is my website, // emotion code. I also have a Facebook page. I'm on YouTube, lots of different places.
Excellent, and thanks, Helena, so much for being part of the Emotion Code Divas because I really do love the show. I just got a post today on Facebook that it was last November that you and I started doing our first videos for the Emotion Code Divas. We didn't know what the show was going to look like, and it's kind of really morphed over the year because at the end of the year we'll be at episode 50. So we'd love for you to share it. We love to it's not about getting the likes, because we're more interested in providing a quality show for you. And if you want a complimentary session, the results that we're getting from working on the viewers are absolutely tremendous. So we love to have those testimonials on the in the web, sorry, in the Facebook post as well. So thank you so much for that. You can find me at empoweredwomeninbusiness.com/emotion code, or if you're interested in Reiki, or if you have animals that might get a little bit depressed or feeling depressed, I love to do distance animal Reiki for that. So that's our show for now. Thanks so much for the viewers for watching. And if you just tuned in, you can watch the recording, and we'll also put it on our YouTube channel. For Helena, it's Flourish Hypnosis. For me, it's Empowered Women in Business. So bye for now. Thanks for watching. And next week, we are into December.
Remember.
December.